This episode is brought to you by Monkey Nutrition.
You know, I built this thing called the 67 Steps, which is about 67 videos. I read University College London said it takes 66 days to form a new habit. So I added one and I call it 67 Steps. So in the 67 Steps, I try to lay out new frameworks of thought from the world's greatest people. Forget me, I'm just one little pawn in life. But
and do these include 67 books or not necessarily?
No, there's not. Okay. Most of them are built around somebody, but one of the 67 steps pertaining to your question is, avoid flurries of activity. So reading in and of itself is actually less effective than in-person mentorships with Sam Walton, but he's dead.
Right.
So whether a physical book, people ask me, Tosh, should I read Kindle? Should I read audio? I'm like, look, man, what's the end game goal? Be war-oriented, not battle. The end game goal is what would happen to you today if you're listening to this, and you woke up, bam, and you are an entrepreneur in business, 50-50 with Bill Gates. Well, what do you project over the next 18 months your bank account would look like? Bam. I say, what if you woke up this morning and you go down and you got a little home gym and Arnold Schwarzenegger is there waiting for you. He's your workout buddy. And he's like, buddy, I'm going to get you in shape. What would your body look like in 18 months? I say, you're not feeling so good if you woke up and you go and you do a little private meditation or thought or reflection on the day, and the Dalai Lama is sitting there waiting for you, and he's going to show you how to find contentment in the little things in life. Or you want to change the world and you wake up today and Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi are there going, let's make your cause happen, right? So people say to me, yeah, Ty, that'd be great. And I'm like, that can happen. It comes from downloading the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience, the intelligence of the world's greatest people. And I measure greatness by impact. So sometimes it's billionaires, sometimes it's Mahatma Gandhi or Mother Teresa with no money. But to the extent that to answer your question with audiobooks, that's the war to be won. Is the audiobook fulfilling that war? Well, it's like Peter F. Drucker says in Managing Oneself. How do you learn? Do you learn audio?
Right.
Some people do. Some people learn by taking notes. I take notes but learn nothing from it. I only use notes to be able to teach from later. So I know, Socrates, the Socratic understanding, know thyself. For me, I am not a kinesthetic learner. By writing it out, it doesn't help me.
So ideally, you're mentoring with the person, you're with Sam Walton when he's building these stores.
Yes.
Second best, in your opinion, is the book. Listening or hearing about exactly how they did it.
YouTube videos can be very powerful too.
Right.
It's the man, it's the woman more than the medium. So
podcasts could be effective. There was a really good long form interview with Sam Walton. That could be pretty fascinating. I don't know if it exists.
Again, it's the war. It's how do I look, why do we have the brains that are the size we have now? They're very ineffective. They make us extremely vulnerable for the first. You see a little kid, looks like Mr. Potato Head babies. Their head's too big. Women, most dangerous thing that's happened to women in history is having to give birth to you and I have big heads.
Right.
Caused a lot of death in childbirth. So why anything that still exists is probably for the most part functional. What's the positive function of big brains? Well, people get this wrong. There's a lot of theories on why we have big brains. Dr. David Buss talks about some of them, and why do we have vocal cords, gossip, all this kind of stuff. But probably the best answer is what Richard Dawkins says. Your brain and the evolution of your brain allows you to simulate. And one of the big social memes out there that's parasitic and negative is that you only learn through mistakes. That is true, but like Warren Buffett says, they don't have to be yours. So if we got on an airplane today, we're flying back to Hollywood, and the pilot gets on the loudspeaker and says, hey everybody, good news, exciting news, this is my first flight, and I hope we get there. You would be exiting that plane in a matter of moments. You want the pilot who's first gone through the flight simulator, then been a co-pilot for a decade. But when we look at success, what's being put out there is, I think, very inefficient. It's a bunch of gobbledygook. The way, if you're listening, you want to be successful, you're going to start with simulations. The best way to simulate the future is use someone else's life, biographies, Sam Walton, Bezos. You can shave decades off. Because as Dawkins says, what's the problem with trial and error? Trial is time consuming. And like Stephen Hawking, a UK native, says, look, time, the only thing we probably know for sure about you and I is we are organisms moving through time. That's it. And so he said, I was wrong. I thought in his book, Theory of Everything, he says, I was wrong. At the end of the universe, I thought the universe would contract and it'd be like Benjamin Button. You'd be old and then young. But he said, when I did those computations 20 years ago, I was mistaken. Time continually moves forward, thermodynamically, cosmologically, and psychologically. So I can promise you, if you're listening to this, you are on time's time frame. And to the extent that you tempt time by going, I'm going to waste a lot of time by making mistakes that other people already made, you will live an inefficient life, and you will not get the good life.
Don't miss London Real. Subscribe now. This week on London Real, we have movement artist Ido Portal.
So people think it's about handstands and, jumping on the rings and doing flips or whatever, when actually our work is way, way beyond that. It's a completely different and a huge paradigm shift in the way that you think about your practice and your movement and your body. We all have a body and we all move. We have no choice. The only question is, how well are you doing it? And most people just don't have the user manual for their own machinery. Changing your dogma takes guts. I don't believe in planning. I believe in reacting. I'm not a messiah. I'm a thinker. I'm a teacher. I'm a mover. I'm being Ido. I'm just trying to handle myself in that way and be genuine.
On Sunday, London Real presents Ido Portal. Just move.
Walk beside me. Don't walk behind me.